PNG braces for extreme weather caused by El Nino. One student dead and others hospitalized after a road accident. And the Hunters put on a show for a packed crowd.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening. I'm Tokana Hasavi with Monday's News. It's good to have your company again. The National Weather Service has predicted that the El Nino effects will be worse than the 1997 drought. We have several reports on the devastation brought on by the El Nino. And we begin tonight with this report from MTV's Jack Lepalvit Jr., who visited several communities in the Mendi Munhiu district of Southern Highlands Province, where vast areas of land have been severely affected by drought and frost.
From the sky, the land looks brownish with little life left among the dying vegetation. Also noticeable are clouds of smoke as fire easily spreads across the landmass. The Upper Mendi local level government was the worst severely affected as frost fell like fire, killing the plants. Seen here in this amateur footage, children holding onto glass-like objects collected by locals in Birop. The 4 days of frost killed main food sources including banana, cacao, potatoes, sugarcane and corn. There were cracks in the ground and the strong heat can be felt on the soil surface. Gardens are being given less attention as people struggle to find ways and means of getting the next staple food to sustain their families.
1 year mi blola grow him kaigay emina na blong ready ariap mi blong bakisim kago li blong we all sit slow we na kago winter long ground em by na blong stop last mi blong long kago winter long ground em by sting tomorrow up tomorrow.
It's not only the dreadful effect of the weather conditions that has brought what it seems like a food and weather disaster. Councillor Pinjel says their source of income is also affected.
Area where Abamedi farmers same time now. People are losing money. Potato now case crop school fee. All Arab something people by making long and Barab na this time people are losing money finish. People by making 1 plus something.
The damage also extends to the nearby Mongol secondary school. 9 hectares of farmed land is being damaged, leaving corn, potato and cacao gardens to die out. Agriculture teacher Sakare Sanake says the agriculture project has helped sustain the school due to delays in government funding.
Like most of the times when there's free education, free tuition, free subsidies do not come in time, meeting by Black and sustaining this law.
Sanake says the school is likely to face closure if the drought and frost continues.
If we do not recover this quickly, I mean, somewhere at least by 1 time or something by school bagrap, or if the school subsidies come in time by, I think all right. Otherwise, me feeling more same. By me black sim really time though school yet.
The Mendi Munhiu MP Day Kewanu visited the district over the weekend to assess and compile a report on the damage caused.
So I've informed Prime Minister, and we may make some small commitments to see how things go for the next couple of weeks and months if it continues.
Kewanu says prolonged dry spell and frost may see the people suffer for up to a year or so.
The staple food is cacao, so it's all gone now. So it will require a good number of months or even a year to really recover.
Similar damages happened in Lai Valley, Currents LLG, Yalibu, Pangia and the Imbungu district.
A lot of provinces, areas like Lai Valley, Currents, other LLGs that never been experiencing frost have been affected now.
People are now calling on the national government to release funding or any means to restore their lives as the disaster may continue for an unknown period. Jack Lepalvit Jr., National EMTV News.
Manyamya's longest dry spell is causing livestock and food gardens to perish while people are sourcing water from 2 major rivers, Kotai and Yakue. Manyamya authorities are carrying out awareness on water usage and food storage throughout the district, where people are scattered all over terrain, mostly inaccessible by road. Places reported to have experienced the effects of the drought are Lagai, Aliepa and Hengiapa.
In these pictures, Minyamya's terrain is dry and has become prone to bushfires. In villages like Lagai, the soil doesn't have enough water to support food crops and plants are drying up. The people are resilient and live in this tough condition, but they are beginning to face food and water shortages. In Aliapa, there have been reports of frost at night, destroying food gardens. The days have become hotter and the nights have become very cold. District disaster coordinators fear the worst. Darius John says this dry spell could put the people in real peril.
So all you look inside, it's a bit different long 997 drought. 997 was affecting more crops, now animals, but this year affecting water past them.
The health workers in the district are also concerned that without enough water, dysentery and airborne diseases may become the lethal killer.
Sample people talk all finish boiling past time, cool him and drink. So emba isi long abrusim all sick or some pekpekwara na and diarrhea one time blood na typhoid na all Arab la sick when by related lot is la drought.
Yesterday, Minyamya MP Benjamin Philip visited drought-hit areas Lagai, Aliapa and Hengiapa to see for himself the effect of the drought.
Work on the administration of Morobe and national government, I think Minan up to talk beyond on this, I think nationwide problem, so I think government by taking step long look at in this law.
I was at the Minyamya station yesterday. The families of government workers say the water in their water tanks have completely dried up. They are now sourcing water from two major rivers, Yaukwe and Kotai. But what's frightening is the tributaries that feed these two main rivers have dried up in some parts and in other parts are slowly drying up because of the 5 months of drought. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
The impact of the dry spell are gradually affecting service delivery in the Bulolo district. Water tanks at the Bulolo police barracks are running dry and getting cooking and drinking water is becoming increasingly difficult as small creeks nearby start to dry up. Some parts of the town depend on a water irrigation system owned by timber company Bulolo Forest Products.
The Bulolo police barracks is where 20 families live. They depend partly on an irrigation system supplied by the Bulolo Forest Products, but the system is unreliable. They also have water tanks, but with a 2-month dry spell, all the tanks have run out of water.
Rainy come, tank you pull up, me plus you swim long toilet, na laundry, na this longer or something, but now dry season come up, now me plus piny through.
The impact of this dry spell is starting to be felt in this small town. The nearby creeks are starting to dry up, and this means making long journeys with drums like these to fetch water.
Now, me plus tablo bagarapia. Water supply no sakam good lo me pla because sem wara em blong NFA.
Plenty time of policeman as I go lo work because lo uniform blow lem dirty. House no wara lo wasim uniform blow.
In small townships like Bulolo, the effects of the dry spell are not as severe as the outerlying rural areas where food sources are being destroyed by the weather. Today, the Bulolo MP Sem Basil announced that the district administration was sending a small amount of food rations to a few villages in the district where food gardens have been destroyed by the weather.
The Morobe Provincial Administration, my province, should now look at assessing the situation so that the national disaster and emergency, including the Morobe Provincial Administration, we from district can also help in putting our funds together to make sure that we give the much needed assistance to the people.
For now, many of the villagers are living on stores of food or whatever they can get from the gardens that have been destroyed. But if the drought conditions continue for another 4 months, Morobe, like other parts of the country, will be facing a crisis. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
PNG needs to double up its efforts in disaster preparedness as the country heads into the onslaught of a prolonged El Nino period. Speaking to MTV News today, UN Head of Mission and UN Disaster Representative Roy Trivedi says efforts are being made to ensure that PNG is more proactive as the country heads into what he describes as a slow oncoming natural disaster brought on by the El Nino.
Sogeri says the weather information they have predicts that PNG will feel the worst of the El Nino conditions in the first quarter of next year. The impact of the El Nino is already being felt around the country. Sogeri says the challenging aspect of El Nino will be that while other parts of PNG gets dry, other places will have more rain than usual.
People need to be prepared for a range of different ways in which their own communities will be impacted. So it's not an easy message to get across, but we all know, as leaders in our society in Papua New Guinea, that we have to redouble our efforts. We have to be creative.
He says in terms of disaster preparedness in the country, it is a work in progress that demands a lot of coordination and a system that is able to quickly respond to the needs of those affected.
But in the meantime, we need to make sure that whatever gardens people have, they're supported to grow food, they're supported to try and preserve and protect clean water sources. People are supported and educated and awareness raised to make sure they're doing everything in their power not to waste water, not to waste resources, to protect and grow the food crops that will give us, that don't require large amounts of water and so on.
The UN is continuing to work closely with the National Disaster Office to ensure that PNG is better prepared for natural disasters.
So we need to do a lot of education work. We need our systems to work better. We need public servants who are really responsive to people. And we need national, local, and international systems working together. And all of that is work in progress. It's never quite finished.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
An information briefing has highlighted important areas where PNG and Australia can work together to inform Papua New Guineans on disaster reaction measures. Based on previous projects in PNG, relevant government authorities will work alongside Geoscience Australia to identify and design suitable disaster resilience structures in preparation for natural disasters.
Following the Risk Information Workshop in East New Britain, scientists from the Australian Geoscience, the PNG Mineral Policy and Geohazards Management Department and the National Disaster Centre have commenced dialogue on appropriate disaster reaction measures for people living in disaster-prone areas. Points identified include knowing who the target audience is, disseminating the scientific information in the right forms and languages, and knowing that the targeted audience will understand the information.
If we don't do any of those things correctly, then the message doesn't get through. Whether it be we wrote it in the wrong language, we put it in the wrong form, we didn't have anybody to give it out, or we didn't understand who our audience was.
These discussions come at a time where parts of PNG are experiencing the effects of drought and frost. These discussions are crucial as it prepares the people to react to any natural disasters.
While we're targeting disaster managers with that training, there's broader applications and of course more people would be welcome.
While this is only the beginning, both governments are inviting the private sector to be partners in further discussions to address measures on disaster preparedness in Papua New Guinea. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Enga Governor Peter Ipatas is calling on the national government to release relief funding for frost-affected provinces. He says the governments must act quickly before things take a turn for the worst. He has also called for a systematic approach by the National Disaster Office and Enga Provincial Disaster Centre to see the smooth flow of relief. Governor Ipatas made this call after visiting Enga Province, where frost had affected food crops and communities in all districts.
A systematic approach to dealing with this this disaster that we believe is going to last and has to be managed over the next 12 months. We believe that there has to be one central location and administration that needs to deal with it. So in essence, I am now calling on all the open members in my own province to make sure that they actually consult and of course try and work with us.
Among stories coming up after the break, the Sogeri bus accident, which has left one dead and many injured. Stay tuned for that story and more. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. A 25-seater bus carrying teenagers plunged off a cliff along the road when returning from Sogeri in the Central Province yesterday, killing one and leaving four admitted in the hospital. The bus, on hire, ran off the road at Browner 2 PNG Power Compound after overtaking a vehicle at a very sharp turn.
Eyewitness report claims that at 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon, the 25-seater bus had run off the road after the driver had attempted to overtake a car at a sharp turn.
Around 5 o'clock, I'm all been come back. Come on, I'm like corner straight, I'm like 10-seater been on front. So bus have been like overtaking me, like corner. I'm overtaking him, chin or slap, lean him, loose gravel. So I'm off balance and I'm going to Tamlo and backside blame go pass, go around the ground, and turning, go one play, I'm die. I've been flying outside, silly blast for divine.
A total of 4 students are currently being held here at the Pacific International Hospital. Another is currently being treated at Port Moresby General Hospital. Those who were there first at the scene identified a young male and female who were thrown out from the bus and hanging on trees. The young male was rushed to Port Moresby Hospital but pronounced dead on arrival, while the young female is now admitted at Pacific International Hospital and went into operation today to reconstruct her right leg. Most of the passengers who are currently admitted have broken bone injuries and are being treated by Dr. Vemu Suduri, PIH orthopedic surgeon. PIH confirmed that he had already operated on 2 other passengers. What is known is that all the passengers attend Port Moresby International School and were on a non-association school trip returning from Sogeri when the incident occurred. Parents claimed that they were unaware of the trip and were still in shock. The owner of the bus and the designated driver has not been identified as yet. Other passengers have all been discharged with only sustaining cuts and bruises. Eyewitness claimed that they were lucky to be alive, for other cars that have gone off the same turnoff have seen none live to tell the story. Eyewitness claimed that the 25-seater was overtaking another vehicle when it ran off the road and went into this gorge. Adelaide Siraks Curry, National EMTV News.
An escapee has been shot by the Madang police after he and his accomplices attempted to hold up a police vehicle and other passing vehicles at the 26 settlements roundabout. The Modilon General Hospital has confirmed that the escapee has died. MTV's Rachel Shise has more on this report.
The escapee was shot on the leg, crippling him from running off before he was taken to the hospital for treatment. He was later pronounced dead after losing a lot of blood. Meanwhile, another incident happened at the same location, the 26th settlement, but at a different spot. Relatives of the victims retaliated and burnt down a house. Police presence has been felt, but the situation is still tense. Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
The Hela provincial government, including the Koroba Lake Kopiago District Administration, have reinforced support for the establishment of a formal conservation area for the Strickland headwaters. In June this year, the Hela provincial government visited the proposed conservation area. Their trip was facilitated by Barrick Gold Corporation, a subsidiary of Barrick New Guinea Limited.
Headwaters of the Strickland River is home to the Hewa people. It covers an area of about 170,000 hectares of pristine rainforest. Renowned American anthropologist and conservationist Dr. Bill Thomas has been working to conserve this area. His efforts has been recognized by the Hela provincial and local level governments. Barrick's Charlie Rose reiterated Barrick's support for Forest Stewards project initiated by Dr. Thomas. The concept allows for vital knowledge transfer from each forest towards the youths and creates a locally managed conservation knowledge program. Deputy Hela Provincial Governor Thomas Potabe said the provincial government is backing the establishment of the formal conservation program for the benefit of the people. Dr. Thomas emphasized the importance of protecting the rainforest as a way of preserving the cultural heritage of the people. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Don Bosco students in Papua New Guinea joined the world of Bosconians and celebrated 200 years of education achievement. It was a celebration of the life of founder and philosopher of education, Saint Don Bosco. The week-long celebrations ended yesterday.
In Port Moresby, the week-long colourful celebration ended yesterday. Current and former students expressed appreciation and gratitude as Bosconians. Don Bosco Alumni Network also assisted to organize the event.
In a way, we are trying to say thank you and show our appreciation to what Don Bosco has done and brought us this far. So in a way, we are giving back, or we are showing that gratitude to Don Bosco on this special day of ease.
It was an opportunity for many students being part of the bicentenary celebration and for studying in an institution that teaches moral and ethical principles.
It's 200 years since Don Bosco's birth, and I'm very privileged to be part of this celebration. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and to be part of it I'm really grateful for it.
Since its establishment in the country, education institutions have emerged with 3 secondary schools, a college and technical college. Don Bosco provides technical education and formation for a skillful workforce.
A legacy that he could leave here to our country. So we are grateful to God for these 200 years of Don Bosco's, remembering Don Bosco's birth. And as we thank God, we take up also the challenge to continue to work for the education and formation of the young people here in Papua New Guinea.
Don Bosco! Viva!
Viva! Clement Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3605 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.3530 $0.4761 Australian dollars, $0.3141 euro, and 43.47 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed the day lower, while coffee and cocoa closed higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed the day higher as well, while copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 69 points higher, the ASX closed at 13 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 13 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News tonight. We'll have more local and international news coming up after the break, including the plane crash in Indonesia's Papua province. Stay tuned for that. Good to have you back with the news. The Department of the Papua New Guinea Defence Force is carrying out changes within its administration to move forward. The changes were directed by the Acting Secretary for Defence, Sebulon Tovaira, last week. Sources within the force told MTV News several departmental staff have refused to give up their positions, resulting in a power struggle. However, internal process is currently being taken to resolve this matter. Any staff refusing to accept these changes will face disciplinary action. To regional news now, an aircraft carrying 54 passengers crashed in Indonesia's remote and mountainous region of Papua just yesterday. So far, there are no confirmed reports on the status of passengers and crew on board. The Trigana air flight left Jayapura yesterday afternoon, bound for Oksibil, the capital of a mountainous region near Papua New Guinea. The plane lost contact with air traffic controllers about 10 minutes short of its destination. Director General Suprasetyo from Indonesia's Air Transportation and Indonesia's Transport Minister Ignatius Jonan say investigations are currently underway.
According to the information, the Trigana Air aircraft that lost contact was found at Camp 3, Ok Bape district in the Bintang Mountains Regency. The information provided by the local residents said that the flight crashed into Tenggok Mountain. The detail on this finding is still under investigation.
The search will continue early tomorrow. The officials of the National Search and Rescue Agency will go there with the Air Transportation Director General later tonight to facilitate the evacuation work and clarify things to the families of passengers on board.
In China, 700 people remain hospitalized from the Tianjin explosions that occurred last Wednesday. As search and rescue efforts continue, the death toll has risen to 114. The lack of support from the Chinese government for affected families sparked public anger. Hundreds of angry residents who lost homes in the explosions demanded answers from the authorities today. They held banners reading, "Give back our homes," and marched to a hotel where a government news conference occurred.
Now our homes have been destroyed. Can't the government give us an explanation? You can't just tell us that all you're going to do is give us new windows. All they're going to do is change the windows? What about all the other stuff in the house? Why should we have to pay for this?
30-year-old Mrs. Wang showed the damage of her home on her mobile phone.
The window fell directly onto the bed. At the time, someone in my family was in that bed. Luckily, they immediately ran out. Otherwise, they would have been killed.
We just want to say that so far the media hasn't mentioned us. We feel like we've been forgotten. We just want to say that there are still us. That's all.
About 700 people remain in hospital with the death toll at 114, and 70 people, most of them firefighters, are missing, according to Chinese media. The explosions, which sent massive yellow and orange fireballs into the sky, smashed cars, burnt out buildings and shattered windows of nearby apartments. Officials acknowledged the presence of toxins, but said they pose no risk to people outside a 2-kilometer evacuation zone surrounding the blast area. Some 6,300 people have been displaced by the explosions. Tokana Hasavi Jr., EMTV World News. Well, we have True Guise Sports, that's coming up next, and the SP-PNG Hunters on a roll. Also, the Brisbane Broncos back in form and a new recruit in the Puk-Puk's lineup. I'll give you all the details coming up after this break. Stay with us.
True Guise Sports.
Welcome to True Guise Sports. Well, the SP-PNG Hunters continue their march toward the Intrust Super Cup finals after yet another win over the winner Manly Seagulls yesterday afternoon at the Sir John Guise Stadium here in Port Moresby. The Hunters did not disappoint the home crowd as they took control of the match in the second half and ran away with a huge 32 points to 13 win.
The Hunters started the game poorly with a few unforced errors which caused the Seagulls to take an early lead. The home side struggled to make use of opportunities to convert into points, giving the visitors an early lead going into halftime, 13 points to 6. In the second half, the Hunters ran back onto the pitch, looking more determined to get back into the contest and began with a penalty, seeing the scores 13 points to 8. From then on, the Hunters looked like a completely different side from the first half, creating opportunities and went on a scoring frenzy, much to the crowd's delight. The Hunters went on to seal the match 36 points to 13 and now share the top spot on the Intrust Super Cup ladder with the Townsville Blackhawks. Dion Kombang, National, EMTV Sports.
The Brisbane Broncos retained the top spot on the NRL ladder with a great win over the St. George Illawarra Dragons in Friday night football. Meanwhile, the Rabbitohs caused the upset of the round when they disposed the North Queensland Cowboys in the first match of round 23.
Thursday evening saw the Rabbitohs upset the North Queensland Cowboys, defeating them 31 points to 18.
Stacks on the mill and then it's picked up by Johnston.
Friday night saw the Broncos snap their 2-game losing streak with a huge victory over the St. George Illawarra Dragons 32-6. The Newcastle Knights proved to have the upper hand in their match against the West Tigers. Knights halfback Tyrone Roberts sealed the match with a try a minute before full time. And the Penrith Panthers have ended the 5-match losing streak when they walked over the New Zealand Warriors 24 points to 10 at Pepper Stadium.
Chasing through, towed forward by Wright, picked up by Conrad Harrell.
The Sydney Roosters have jumped to second spot on the NRL points ladder when they disposed of the Parramatta Eels 28 points to 18. Despite being behind till the final 10 minutes of the match, the Roosters proved why they're one of the premiership favourites.
They'd only need the one tackle. Jake Friend scores.
The Bulldogs toppled the Titans 36 points to 14 to break their 4-game losing streak. The win sees the Bulldogs sit 7th on the NRL points ladder. Dion Kombang, National, EMTV Sports.
And in Monday Night Football, later this evening, the 4th place Cronulla Sharks take on 5th place Melbourne Storm in what will prove to be an exciting encounter. And you can catch all the action right here on EMTV straight after the news. Well, True Guise Sports continues after the break with soccer and golf. Stay tuned for all the details.
True Guise Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guise Sports. Over to rugby union first. The youngest of the bunch, Richard John Guise, will bear the pressure of being the Puk-Puk's playmaker at fly half during the Oceania Cup this weekend. What will be his first appearance in the red, black and gold jersey is a pride that cannot be taken away from the 20-year-old Puk-Puk. Guise says the team is a good mix of overseas-based and provincial players, and in the next few days, the team will focus on working on combinations, set plays and gelling of players.
He may be a new face to the Puk-Puks and PNG rugby fraternity, but he certainly is no stranger to the code and the number 10 jersey. A former Naji College student in Brisbane, Australia, and now the youngest Puk-Puk to put on the number 10 jersey for national duties.
I'm honoured to be selected with amongst all these boys and just keen to play pretty much.
Guise has been selected amongst many recognisable faces of rugby in Papua New Guinea, Butler Morris, Desmond Kopok, Jackie Marcus and the Kautu brothers. While the structure of rugby in Papua New Guinea is a little different to what he is used to, Guise says the team is now at the stage where the gelling of players from centres outside of Port Moresby and PNG is vital.
It's good so far, like we're all training together, getting along with each other. The Lay boys just came in and Bradley from Brisbane as well, so we're all gelling together as a team and I'm just looking forward to the competition. It's a little extravagant, but I mean, we're using our structures to work to our game plan and that's helping us at the moment, so hopefully we can take that into the comp coming up.
Now the boys will head into camp tomorrow as they prepare for Game 1 of the Oceania Cup against American Samoa on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium here in Port Moresby. Lorraine Genia, National, EMTV Sports.
Over to soccer, Nigel Dabinyaba, the young striker who came runner-up in the Golden Boot Award in last season's Telecom National Soccer League, is adamant that he can improve when the new competition resumes. The 23-year-old says he has a long way to go and the opportunity to play professionally is still on the cards.
Nigel Dabinyaba has been a talismanic figure for his club, the Lay City Dwellers. He was part of an exciting squad that took the competition by storm in 2015, shooting to the top of the table before being held off by Hekari by a single point. Alongside fellow striker Raymond Gunemba, the pair set about to barnstorm to the grand final, creating history along the way.
Me and the partner Raymond Gunemba me play na now come back na Karim name lo own province lo I mean me mixed parentage is ni Britain na oro but me born morobe na or me picking morobe na me Karim flag lo morobe na play osem na cup champion lo country na now bla represent your O League goal represent PNG lo O League thanks lo ekari usait walk away na me bla to go inside big plama straight na looking forward straight lo this la season where Bambla gonna play low league 2 year.
Nigel did not take part in the Momase leg of the Besta Cup, preferring instead to focus on his own preparation for the upcoming National Soccer League.
I make him up mind to me that me bust up to na larim game space lo some nice players too all come on top all need to play na showing potential well gatlem.
His faith remains a steadfast point in his life.
Most of all, God stop number one lo carry up me so me ga long play lo go na me I believe ba me still go at lo next season when back come up now na me looking forward straight.
What an opportunity to play in New Zealand has passed due to travel issues. The 24-year-old remains hopeful and says in time his chance will come.
But plenty options stop, plenty option. Me na Raymond no give up la, me bla still work at it. Maybe like the big man, next option stop one bla go na maybe and rightful one me bla, yeah.
The new season of the Telecom National Soccer League is tentatively scheduled for November. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
To golf, Australia's Jason Day ended 5 years of close calls at the majors with a victory by 3 shots over American Jordan Spieth at the PGA Championship yesterday. The world number 5, 2 shots ahead of Spieth on Saturday, never surrendered as he closed with a 5 under par at 67 on a windy day to post a major record low of 20 under at 268. The previous best at a major was the 19 under total of 269 recorded by former world number 1 Tiger Woods when he won by 8 shots in 2000. The 27-year-old Australian had to wipe tears from his eyes before he tapped in a par putt from just 1 foot on the 18th green. Day, who was embraced by his pregnant wife Ellie and son as he made his way off the green, became the 5th Australian to win the PGA Championship.
Major championships, but for me to be able to get to 20 under par and hold that record, I mean, some of the names I'd never thought I'd be able to put my name with. Walking up 18, knowing that I've got the trophy, it was hard. I mean, I was trying to hold back tears over the first putt, and when I saw the putt go up to half a foot, I just couldn't stop crying. And I mean, it's just a lot of hard work that I've been being put into this game to dedicate myself to have a shot at glory, have a shot at greatness, and that's what we all work towards, and it's a good feeling.
Well, that wraps up True Guise Sports tonight. The weather details coming up after this break. Stay tuned for that.
True Guise Sports.
Taking a quick look at the weather forecast for tonight in southern region, Port Moresby and Alotau, to look forward to cloudy periods, mostly fine in Parramatta. If you are anywhere in the Mombasa region, you can look forward to relatively fine weather. In the New Guinea Islands, brief showers expected in Kokopo and Rabaul, few showers in Buka. And lastly, in the Highlands region, mostly fine expected in all centres. Now, before we go, quickly recapping our main headlines again tonight. Papua New Guinea braces for extreme weather caused by El Nino. Also, 1 student is dead and others hospitalized after a road accident at Sogeri in the Central Province. And the Hunters put on a show for a packed crowd at the Sir John Guise Stadium. Well, that's been National EMTV News, beginning another working week. On behalf of the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasabi Jr. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.